We're counting down 15 classic cars that didn't just change the roads, they changed the world. Stick around, because the number 1 car will completely blow your mind. At number 13, we have maybe the most recognizable car shape of all time, the Volkswagen Beetle. Launched in the late 1930s and produced all the way into the 2000s, the Beetle became one of the most loved cars in history. It was simple, it was reliable, it was cheap, and for millions of people, it was their very first car. But more than that, the Beetle became a cultural symbol. In the 1960s, it was embraced by the counterculture movement. It was the opposite of big American gas guzzlers. It was small, friendly, and different. With over 21 million units sold, the Beetle didn't just put Volkswagen on the map, it made the brand a global powerhouse. It wasn't the fastest, it wasn't the most luxurious, but it was one of the most loved cars ever built. At number 12, we've got a small car with a big story, the Mini Cooper. Built in Britain in 1959, the Mini was designed to be tiny, cheap, and fuel efficient. But what nobody expected was that it would also become a racing legend. With its small size and sharp handling, the Mini Cooper dominated rally racing in the 1960s, beating much bigger and faster cars. And outside of racing, the Mini became a fashion statement. It was cool, it was fun. Everyone from everyday families to celebrities like the Beatles drove one. The Mini wasn't just a car, it was a pop culture icon. Proof that even the smallest cars can make the biggest impact. Now, let's head to America. In 1964, Ford introduced the Mustang, and instantly, a new era began. This wasn't just a car, it was the birth of the pony car. The Mustang was affordable, stylish, and sporty. It gave young Americans the feeling of owning a powerful car without paying luxury prices. Movies like Bullitt, and later Gone in 60 Seconds, turned the Mustang into a screen legend. Songs were written about it. It became the car of freedom and youth in America. And even today, the Mustang is still one of the best-selling sports cars in the world. The Mustang proved that performance and style didn't have to be just for the rich. It made speed and excitement available to the masses. At number 10, we have a car that even Enzo Ferrari himself once called the most beautiful car ever made, the Jaguar E-Type. Launched in 1961, the E-Type was stunning. Long hood, sleek curves, and a design that looked like it was moving, even when standing still. But it wasn't just pretty. Underneath that body, the E-Type had real performance. It could do 150 miles per hour, which in the early 60s was unbelievable for a car you could actually buy for the road. The E-Type wasn't just a British sports car, it was a design revolution. To this day, it's in museums and on posters as one of the greatest automotive designs of all time. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's unforgettable. Few cars in history have managed to stay so true to their original idea as the Porsche 911. Launched in 1964, the 911 has become the definition of a sports car. The design? Instantly recognizable. The rear engine layout? Unique. And the driving experience? Legendary. At first, some critics thought Porsche was crazy for putting the engine in the back. But that decision gave the 911 its special handling and its own character. Over the decades, the 911 has evolved, becoming faster, safer, and more advanced. Yet it has always stayed true to its roots. When you see a 911 today, you still see the same spirit from the 1960s. It's a car loved by everyday drivers, by collectors, and by racers. Few cars in the world have been around this long, with this much success. The 911 isn't just a sports car, it's an icon. In 1955, Citroën shocked the world with a car that looked like it came from another planet. The Citroën DS. This French masterpiece was decades ahead of its time. Its smooth, futuristic design stood out from everything else on the road. But even more impressive was the technology inside. The DS had hydraulic suspension that made the car float over rough roads. It had advanced steering and braking systems that were unheard of back then. Driving it felt like stepping into the future. The DS wasn't just a car, it was a vision of what cars could become. It became a symbol of French innovation and style, and it still turns heads today. For many, the DS is proof that cars can be art. Now we return to something a little less flashy, but just as legendary. The Mercedes-Benz W123. Built between 1976 and 1985, the W123 was all about one thing: reliability. It wasn't the fastest, it wasn't the most luxurious, but it was built to last. Taxi drivers loved it, families trusted it. In some parts of the world, these cars are still running today, decades later. Engines that could survive over 1 million kilometers, strong bodywork, simple mechanics. The W123 earned Mercedes a reputation that still lives on, a brand that makes cars you can truly depend on. It became the world's workhorse, but also a car respected everywhere it went. The W123 didn't just serve its owners, it built the Mercedes legend. At number 6, we have the car that invented the luxury SUV, the original Range Rover. Released in 1970, it was something totally new. Before the Range Rover, off-road vehicles were tough and practical, but never comfortable. Luxury cars were stylish, but they couldn't climb mountains. The Range Rover combined both. It could drive through mud, water, and rocky trails, and then roll up to a fancy hotel without looking out of place. It set the template for what we now call the SUV boom. Today, every brand makes luxury SUVs, but it all started here. At number 5, we have the Honda Civic. When it first appeared in the early 1970s, it was a small, unassuming car. But what it lacked in size, it made up for in reliability and efficiency. The Civic quickly became a global hit. It was cheap to run, easy to repair, and could last for hundreds of thousands of miles with very little maintenance. People around the world relied on it for daily life, commuting, running errands, and even long road trips. Over the years, it grew, improved, and adapted, but it never lost the core values that made it famous. The Civic showed that a simple, practical car could be as legendary as a flashy sports car. It proved that reliability can be just as iconic as speed. At number 4, we return to rugged legend status, the Toyota Land Cruiser. Launched in the 1950s, the Land Cruiser was built for adventure. It could handle deserts, mountains, jungles, and everything in between. The secret? Simple, strong engineering that worked in any condition. It didn't rely on fancy electronics or luxury, just pure mechanical strength. Explorers, farmers, military units, and families all over the world trusted it. Many of these vehicles are still on the road today. That kind of longevity is rare in the automotive world. The Land Cruiser proved that a car could go anywhere, do anything, and still survive for decades. That's why it's a true icon. At number 3, we have the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing. The 300 SL wasn't just beautiful, its engineering was ahead of its time. Fuel injection, a lightweight body, and those famous Gullwing doors made it a technical masterpiece. This car didn't just turn heads, it changed Mercedes-Benz forever. It proved the brand could make cars that were both luxurious and high-performing. Collectors today still consider the 300 SL one of the most desirable cars in the world, and it's easy to see why. It looks like no other car, and it drove like nothing else at the time. The 300 SL showed the world that Mercedes could set the standard for both style and performance. Volkswagen T1 bus, also known as the bully or the hippie van. Launched in 1950, this little van became a symbol of freedom. Surfers loved it, travelers loved it, and in the 1960s, it became the car of the hippie movement. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't powerful, but it was practical, roomy, and it had character. People would paint flowers on it, throw mattresses in the back, and take it across the country. The T1 showed the world that cars could be more than transport, they could represent a lifestyle. And to this day, the Volkswagen bus is still a collector's dream. Every time you see one, it makes you smile. And finally, at number 1, we have the car that started it all, the Ford Model T. Launched in 1908, it wasn't the first car ever made, but it was the first car that changed the world. Before the Model T, cars were expensive toys for the rich. Henry Ford had a vision: make a car for everyone. The secret wasn't just the car, it was the assembly line. By mass-producing the Model T, Ford made it affordable and reliable. People could finally own a car, and millions did. The Model T changed cities, families, and industries. It made roads and traffic a part of daily life, and it laid the foundation for everything we know about modern cars today. It's not just a car. The Model T is history on wheels. It's the reason the automotive world exists the way it does now. And there you have it, 15 classic cars that changed everything. From the Beetle to the Model T, each of these vehicles left a mark that still matters today. If you enjoyed seeing these legends, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more automotive history and iconic cars.